like putting a bet on that, I'm doing it. But I think the whole bill is mad. If you're not a boxing fan and you catch the UK interest, you catch the Smith Buatsi fight, you're going to be drawn in. Then the next fight comes on, you think, oh my God, how's this rolling on? We're constantly talking about Dubois and Parker, but that's not even top of the bill. Top of the bill is Beterbiev and Bivol. This is mad. This is such a bill. So you've got to give it to Riyadh Season. They're doing a number, and the tunes are mad.
The tunes are certainly mad. I hope some of these tunes are coming across to you guys at home. Andy Clark, look, Johnny says Don King may have something to say about this being the greatest card ever. I've got nothing to say. I think this is the greatest card ever. What are you saying, Andy Clark?
I think it probably is. It's just sensational from top to bottom, and we've known the schedule for weeks, but now you're out here in the middle of it. I feel like I'm in a dream. You know, you watch these guys wandering around at the media day yesterday, and it's just superb matchup after superb matchup, and every single one of them, the more I think about it, the keener I get on them all, and sometimes the pecking order of which one I like most changes from day to day, depending on who I've spoken to last. And we talk to our colleagues, and everybody's got their own theories and their own angles, and it's just such a fantastic mix all the way through.
It's certainly that. Johnny is vibing here in Riyadh.
I'm just excited this week.
Good.
I'm like thinking, we've got here, they're dropping the tunes, we're looking at the fights. If you're a fight fan, this is the best place to be. It's mad, this madness.
It is a fight fan's paradise. Tonight is the grand arrival. So all these fighters, all featuring on Saturday, they're going to grandly arrive here. I don't know what to expect. I guess they're going to get up there, give us a little wave and be kind of regal like that. What are we thinking, Johnny?
Of this grand arrival tonight, I think, listen, let's not mess about. The fighters don't like doing this week because there's a lot of commitment this week. They've got to do grand arrival, they've got to do press every night coming up to it. And you've heard previous fighters that have lost previously about the commitments they've got. We're here, you know, this is show business. So this is part of the game now. You've got to get it done. And so these fighters, they don't want to do this, but it's time for, this is for us fans to get involved, to watch everything unfold in front of us. I know for a fact my trainer, Brendan Ingle, would have said, no, you're not doing that. But then I wouldn't be over here. You've got to do something every single day. Fighters complain about it, but they've got to do it. So they can't say that was a disadvantage because their opponent's got to do it as well.
Well, it's a packed and loaded media schedule. As Johnny said, they've got to do so much. Andy, you've been in the company of all of the fighters, I think, so far. I've had a bit of time with them as well. Let's talk a little bit about the main event, the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. That's at the top of the show. You spoke to both, I think it's Bivol earlier on today. What have you got from him?
He's still very gracious about the result in the first fight. He's not choosing to dwell on that at all. I did say to him, no, it's the first time you've lost as a professional. There's a difference between losing and being defeated. He wasn't defeated, but he did lose because the judges said so, and he's accepted it. He feels like he left a little bit in the tank, which I found quite surprising. He definitely feels like he can and will and has to take it to a new level in the rematch, which I absolutely agree with. I think that Beterbiev needs to do exactly the same. They found out plenty about each other back in October, and he said that experience for him, and he's sure for Artur, narrows the focus. Stuff that they worked on for the first fight they discovered they didn't really need, or it wasn't as important as they thought it would be. Other stuff maybe didn't work as well as they thought. Other stuff maybe worked a bit better than they thought. So the bandwidth, if you like, for the second fight isn't as great. They know more about each other now, but that doesn't make it any easier.
Tell you what, Bivol's mentality, though, is absolutely elite. I asked him yesterday, outright, you lost the first fight. Whose fault was that? And he said, it was my fault. I didn't do enough. You like hearing things like that, Johnny?
Without a doubt. He was brutally honest with himself, regardless of what we all say here. Now, Bivol, when he left the ring the last time, he knew he had more left. And that's what kicked him, that's what frustrated him. With Beterbiev, I don't think he's got a higher gear. I don't think he'll box at lower gear. He had a consistent gear, which is why the way he started is the way he finished, which is why the public can complain, say, no, Bivol win, Beterbiev win, because Beterbiev's pace was consistent. Bivol's pace was slow, went up, went down, went up, went down. And the judges, that's what the judges saw. I agree with the result, but I also agree that Bivol had a lot more left to give. And now this time, he's going to leave it in the ring. Beterbiev, I don't think he can give anymore. I don't think he's got a higher pace. The age is out, but he can just be stronger, more consistent, and that's it. Whereas Bivol has got more to give.
The gears thing is really interesting because, as you say, as you get older, athletes across all sports, but particularly boxing, you lose your gears.
Yeah.
If you live the life like he has, then you can perform at a consistently high enough gear for 12 rounds, but you haven't got that fifth that you used to have. And Bivol needs to try and he's got to up the gears as much as he can.
You've got to be smart enough and disciplined enough when you're the older fighter to let your younger opponent take you out of your pace, out of your gear, because if you let him take out your gear, then you're going to be shattered. You know you can pace yourself at a certain gear all the way through. I know that as an older fighter when I was going through, I thought, if I can just maintain his pace, I might lose the first 2 or 3 rounds, but then I'll catch up to him. And that's why it's just, you've got to do the math on this one. And I think Beterbiev did the math, got it right. Bivol did his math and got it wrong. I think he'll get it right on Saturday night.
Well, talking about pace, someone who starts every fight at a ferocious pace is Daniel Dynamite Dubois, the IBF World Heavyweight Champion. Big fight against Joe Parker. I guess if you're taking Tyson Fury as retired, this is number 2 versus number 3 in the world, Andy.
It has to be. The top 3 heavyweights in the world, if you look at current form, are Usyk and these two. I don't think there's any way you could argue with that. I love this fight because maybe it's just the UK press, but people are talking a lot about Dubois, and I completely understand because it was an electric performance at Wembley and he's got an awful lot going for him. He is an absolute mechanism. He's been training for such a long time. That body is just in incredible condition, and now he's got the confidence. He's always had the power. Parker, though, has had a great run himself, and he is going to come in bigger and heavier. He looks stronger. I've been watching his YouTube episodes in the build-up, which are really entertaining, and at one point he's in the kitchen with George Lockhart, his S&C guy, and says, "George, what was our target?" And George says 120, and he said, I've just hit 119.9. 120 is 264 pounds, 18 stone 12. That's quite a lot more than he's been before, and it'll be muscle too. So that to me shows that since we last saw him, there's been a plan, and that's been to put on some size.
That's interesting because that would be a career heavy Joe Parker, and I understood it heading into what he thought was going to be a Zhilei Zhang rematch. That was all the talk initially. Zhang outweighed him by so much that Parker felt he had to put a bit of weight on. Does this putting more weight on, why is that a thing against Daniel Dubois?
So I believe putting more weight on, most people look at that and think he's going to fight with fire, which gives him the ability to do that. But common sense and game plan, and he's no fool. He knows Parker is the better technical fighter. He also knows that Daniel Dubois is strong as an ox. His jab is like a piston. His right hand's like a thunderbolt. So he understands that he's going to be you look at how he manhandled Anthony Joshua in the last fight. So he knows that Parker's got to put some weight on to hold his own, even when he gets in tight, when it gets up close and personal, he's got to be able to hold his own. But if he's thinking, I'm going to go in there and fight fire with fire and have a gunfight, he's doing the worst thing he can ever do. He's got to fight his fight because he's the better technical fighter, and Dubois is a better fighter. And so he's just got to make sure he controls the pace, controls how this fight turns out.
There's plenty of UK interest on this card as well. There's a real global feel. There's fighters from all over the world, but a big night for Hamzah Sheeraz. Gets his crack at the WBC World Middleweight Championship, but by no means an easy fight, Andy.
No, it's a really tough fight. Carlos Adames had plenty to say yesterday when I heard him speak. He went off at Hamzah Sheeraz, basically just saying that he's a typical UK hype job, that they've been getting in plumbers and chefs to fight him, and that he's nothing, basically. Hamzah will have been getting that from US-based fighters for the last 4 years because he's chosen to take himself over there to train. So that'll be nothing new. That's all you get as a Brit when you go to America. So I don't think he'll be fazed by that at all. But Adames is strong. He will walk you down. He doesn't just fight with his face, though. There's technique behind it, and he will look to grind you down and get to you. And he will be confident that he can. He does have one defeat. That was against a tall, lean kind of fighter in Patrick Teixeira, southpaw rather than orthodox. There aren't loads of similarities in the way they fight, but he won because he hurt him. He was losing the fight, then in the 7th round he hurt him, and then he swept the rest of the fight and got it on the cards. Hamzah Sheeraz has got to hurt Adames, and as early as he can if he's going to win this fight. That doesn't mean he comes flying out of the blocks too gung-ho, But to win the fight, if it goes to points, for example, he's got to do some damage.
I'm liking the sound of some of those things that Adamez has apparently said there. I hope he says all of that at the press conference as well. Doesn't retreat into his shell and give me one-word answers. So looking forward to that. But it's also a big night for both Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi. A fight, once again, that could main event in the UK. You'd build a whole kind of card around that, and it opens the show, Johnny.
Without a doubt, I'm baffled. I'm baffled. When I saw it on paper, I thought, Smith, has he lost it a bit? Has he dropped down a level a bit? Because this is a dangerous fight. This is a great fight between those two. Now, if this fight goes the distance, in my head, I'm thinking Joshua Buatsi has beaten him up, got the better of him. If it goes inside the distance, I believe Smith has knocked out Joshua Buatsi. You look at Smith's knockout reel. His knockout reel's as good as Deontay Wilder's. This guy's concussively dangerous. So if he still is the fighter that we think he is, I think it's going to be a rough night. It's going to be a rough, tough night. So it's going to go one way or the other. If it's inside the distance, I'm going Smith. If the points win, I'm going Buatsi. But it's going to be a cracking fight because these two are really good skillsters. And what happens is they're both the same. If their opponent level is down there, they're going to box down there. They don't step out of the shell. If the opponent level is up there, they step up there. And this is that kind of fight. None of them can afford to box below par.
It is truly a terrific one, and you've got to remember, Callum Smith, I know he's the older man, he's only lost in elite company, Beterbiev and Canelo. That's it. Buatsi is not a Beterbiev or Canelo yet. So in theory, on body of work, on being a world champion at a lower weight, surely Callum Smith's the favourite.
Yeah, if you're going to look at it in those terms, if you're going to be rational and logical about it, which I always like to be, then yeah, you do have to make him favourite. But Buatsi has had a little bit of a slow burn of a career. I would have liked to have seen him move a bit quicker, but I understand why it hasn't happened. Timing is everything. He knows that he doesn't really have time for setbacks. He's a good fighter. We've known that since the Olympics when he impressed so many people. This is going to be a tough fight. I think they're really going to force something out of each other, and it may well be one of those good old-fashioned ones where we just get to the final few rounds and it's just who can stand up to it best, who can take it most, whose will is strongest.
Well, let's head over to our MC for the evening, Thomas Triber.
Rivals for the last crescendo, a great night of World Championship Boxing to be held this Saturday from A&B Arena in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We would first like to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, Jia Turki Al Sheikh. This great event is being brought to you by Riyadh Season and the General Entertainment Authority, Jia, with Frank Warren for Queensberry Promotions, Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing, Bob Aram for Top Rank Incorporated, Gold Star Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya's, Golden Boy Promotions, Boxer, World of Boxing, Warriors Boxing, and Sella. Along with their great sponsors, Saudi Tourism Authority, Saudi National Bank, STC, Dr. Suleiman El Habib Medical Group, Saudia Airlines, New Murabba Development Company, Tawuniya, Hunger Station, Lucid Motors, and Al Tanfidi. A big thanks to those great sponsors. It will be shown worldwide and in the UK on DAZN and also in the UK on TNT Sports Box Office and Sky Sports Box Office. And now, boxing fans, let's get the grand arrivals started. Our first fighter competing Saturday in a scheduled 6-round welterweight contest. He is undefeated with 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 win, coming by way of knockout. He hails from right here, Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Here is Ziyad Almaayouf.
Well, here comes Ziyad Almaayouf, bit of a flag bearer for Saudi boxing. At the launch press conference a couple of months back, he gave an impassioned speech about how he wants to be the one who opens it up for all the other young Saudi boxers coming through. He said, "Never fear, Zizo is here."
He's great company, isn't he? He brings a really good vibe and energy to every room that he walks into, and he's good to watch. He's good to watch. There's plenty to be ironed out under Buddy McGirt. He loves to tear up a little bit too much, but what they do already know is that he has the minerals for this. This is definitely for him. He just needs to work on that technique, stay in that gym, hone it, finally tune it. And I think what Buddy will want to see is an incident-free performance, a dull performance from him for once.
Well, it's coming off a draw, actually, so that the first kind of blemish on his record appeared last time, so he'll be looking to get back to winning ways on Saturday night. He's got that infectious personality, and I think we're going to hear from him now as he joins Chris Mannix for a quick interview.
Well, Ziyad, welcome back to Saudi Arabia. A little bit chillier now than the last time we saw you here. How does it feel to be back?
You know, a superhero returns, and when I'm in Saudi Arabia, I just feel like I'm a superhero. I can't wait to put my cape on and rise up to that occasion, rise up to the pressure again and again and again Saturday night.
You took a draw your last time out here in Saudi Arabia. What did you learn from that experience?
Not what I liked to happen, but exactly what I needed to happen. And we only find that out later on. You know, our biggest problem is when we try to find solutions for something that happened today a month later. But I learned that to trust the process, I needed that draw. I needed what I'm going to pick up from it. And then we fix the problems and we go from there. But you will see a calmer, more composed Zizo, one that will represent the kingdom, one that will represent not only a city or a state, but a whole side of the world, in the Arab world, humbly and gratefully. And, you know, it's all thanks to the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, for their vision in Vision 2030 that has inspired me and so many other like me, the youth and the talents, and also not the support of His Excellency Turki al-Sheikh, but his adoption, his complete adoption of me and supporting me and backing me, giving me the opportunity to shine and represent the kingdom.
Appreciate it, Zizo. Good luck this week.
Thank you, Chris.
Guys.
Our next 2 fighters will compete this Saturday in a scheduled 6-round super featherweight contest. We will first welcome a native of Chinandega, Nicaragua. He is now fighting out of Bratislava, Slovakia, and he is a veteran of 53 professional bouts. Let's welcome Angel El Cohete Gomez.
Well, here comes Angel Gomez, and one thing I particularly enjoy about these grand arrivals in fight week of a big Riyadh season show, journeymen, circuit fighters, they get their moment in the sun. He's got his own ring walk, Angel Gomez. He's never seen anything like this ever before. This is lovely stuff, Johnny.
Yes, of course. You know what an opportunity, what a platform to shine on as well. He looks so young and naive. If you only knew what he was walking into.
He can fight, though. I've seen him plenty. Nicaraguan fighter based in Europe now. There are lots of those over the last few years, and he can bring it, and he definitely will bring it on Saturday. No question about that. But they're the backbone of the sport, these fighters. So it's great to see them on these cards get a chance.
Well, he's been in with plenty of British fighters. Jermaine Lewayo, of course the nephew of Derek Chisora, Billy Boom Boom Adams, Cameron Vong, Royston Barney-Smith, Zach Miller. He's certainly done the rounds and been in with plenty. And now he takes his little moment here. He'll be in action on Saturday night. Engel Gomez, great to see him. Let's head back over to Thomas Treiber.
And now let's welcome undefeated with 2 victories. He hails from right here, Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Let's welcome mighty Mohamed Alakel.
Well, Mohamed Alakel has had a terrific start to his professional career. He's unbeaten so far, but it's more about where he's been able to fight. He made his pro debut on the undercard of the first fight between Beterbiev and Bivol. His second fight was on the undercard of Fury Usyk 2, and his third fight is on the greatest show of all time.
This is where you're seeing homegrown talent getting the opportunity to see what the big bright lights are about. And if you want to get, inspire other young homegrown talent to be in such a position, this is a platform to do it on. And I'm quite sure there's a lot of talent here, and this man here can lead the way.
He's been up in Champs Camp with Joe Gallagher, of course. They recently had Roberto Duran in that gym, so that's pretty good company to be getting a bit of advice.
It doesn't get much better than that, and there is talent here. There's talent everywhere. You just need to be able to unearth it, and with the investment in the Mike Tyson gym and the amateur program that they're creating here, there will be more fighters. We saw some on the midweek fight week last time out.
Well, Mohamed, welcome back. What are you looking to show on Saturday night?
I've worked so hard for this, and I'm a very skillful performance, hopefully.
What kind of performance should we be looking for? How would you describe yourself to as a fighter to people who haven't seen you yet?
I'm just going to outbox him and, just outbox him.
Tremendous card that you're on here, deep from top to bottom. How does it feel to be part of a card like this?
Yeah, I'm thankful and grateful. Everyone that made this possible, especially His Excellency, and I'm very honored.
Appreciate it, Mohamed. Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next 2 fighters competing this Saturday in a scheduled 12-round contest, and it'll be for the WBO Interim Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. We will first welcome the challenger from Liverpool, England. He has a professional record consisting of 30 wins, 2 defeats, 22 of those 30 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former Ring Magazine champion and former WBA super middleweight champion of the world, Callum Mundo Smith.
Well, his resume speaks for itself. His credentials speak for themselves. He's a former Ring Magazine World Super Middleweight Champion, won that Muhammad Ali trophy as well, ventured up to light heavyweight, and only 2 men have ever defeated him in his career: Canelo Alvarez at super middle and Artur Beterbiev at light heavyweight. He is an elite fighter, and he is dreaming of becoming a 2-weight world champion.
Now you hear that announcement, this is what I'm talking about. You listen to those credentials and you've got to understand how big a deal this fight is. This guy is world class. This guy is world talent. So that means we're saying he beats 98% of the fighters in the world thus far. So now this shows you the gravitas of this fight with him and Joshua Buatsi.
Oh, absolutely that. It's one that's really got fight fans talking. WBO Interim Light Heavyweight Championship on the line. The winner joins that queue for Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. It's an elite fight at the very top of the light heavyweight division. Chris Mannix is making his way over. Let's get a word from Mundo.
Well, Callum, you shook the rust off in that last fight, right back into a big one this Saturday. How are you feeling about this fight?
Yeah, feeling good. The fight I like. It's a big opportunity for myself to put myself closer to where I want to be, and that's a 2-weight world champion.
Came up short against Artur Beterbiev last year, but what did you learn from an experience like that?
I think you just learn from all your fights, and I think losing kind of magnifies areas where you need to improve that a little bit more, and I come away from it assessed it, looked at reasons why I came up short, and I feel I've improved in certain areas, and I'm a better fighter because of it.
A very respectful promotion so far between you and Josh Buatsi. But what is this fight going to look like on Saturday?
I think it'll be a good fight. I think stylistically we should gel pretty well. It's not personal. I've got a job to do. He's got something I want. He's got an interim world title that puts me closer to where I want to be. So say I go in there this weekend, do the job, and I believe I'll come out on top.
Do you like these domestic fights a little bit better, give it a little extra juice?
Yeah, they're good. It obviously gets the public's imagination that little bit more with us both being from the same country, but regardless of who it is, it's not the opponent, it's what he's got and where I want to be. So yeah, it's a big opportunity for myself.
Appreciate it, Callum. Good luck.
Thank you.
And now let's welcome the defending champion from London, England, a 2016 Olympic bronze medalist, now undefeated as a professional with 19 wins. 13 of those 19 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning and defending WBO interim light heavyweight champion of the world, Joshua Buatsi.
Well, here comes the unbeaten Joshua Buatsi. He is the defending WBO interim light heavyweight champion. He was asked to bring that belt to the launch press conference. He said, "Why do I want to bring the interim belt when the real ones will be behind me?" Didn't want to bring that belt, wants to win the big one.
Wants to win the big one, and he knows he's a fighter that's got something to prove. He's a fighter that there's been so much shouted from the rooftops about his potential and the fighter he should be. The fighter he should be at this point in his career. So this now is his opportunity to prove, look, I'm proving to you I belong up there. I belong to be a world champion. I'm going to fulfill all the wishes that everybody thought I could do. And this is that fight. He's got to show us something. Callum's already shown us what he's about.
Well, he's been involved in what feels like eliminator after eliminator after eliminator, but a big win on Saturday night as he looks behind him, as he sees his name up in lights. A win on Saturday night takes him closer to becoming a full world champion. Let's hear from Joshua Buatsi with Chris Mannix.
Well, Josh, you've been looking for a big fight for a long time. This feels like a pretty big one. How are you feeling going into Saturday?
Feeling good, man. Happy to be fighting in Saudi Arabia, and a lot's on the line, so I'm looking forward to it.
You've been coming up the ranks with Callum over the years. Did it ever occur to you over that time that, hey, this might be a guy that I'll fight someday?
Only when the contract was signed, yeah.
What do you think this fight's going to look like?
One that I win. However it looks, I'll come on top.
I was asking Callum, you guys have been very respectful of each other over the course of the last couple of months, but what is the fight going to look like in the ring? How good stylistically do you think this fight is?
Yeah, it's a style that should gel. Whatever style I have to provide to win, that's what I'm going to do.
You think this puts you one step closer to that full world title?
It definitely should, 100%.
Good luck, Josh.
Thank you.
Well, he's just business, Joshua Buatsi, and Callum Smith is also just business. Both not really giving away much. There's been a lot of respect in the build-up here, but when that first bell rings, I'm expecting carnage, Johnny.
I think their styles will fit like the perfectly fitting shoes. These guys, well, the distance will be there, the styles will gel perfectly, and that's why I think if you want to understand the sport of boxing, it will be one of those technical matches that can set a fire in a heartbeat because of their styles.
Why has it taken so long for Joshua Buatsi to become a world champion? And he's not there yet. He's getting closer and closer. But his contemporaries from around the 2016 team, Akoli, he's done it. Cordina, he's done it. Buatsi hasn't got there yet.
It's been a combination of things, and it will have been frustrating for him because he took his time turning pro, for one. He had a degree to finish. He had funding still with the English Institute of Sport, with the GB squad. So he turned pro about a year after Rio, so that was one reason. I think he boxed pretty regularly to start with, but he's had periods where he hasn't been able to get the fights that he wanted to have. he's had these two guys, Beterbiev and Bivol, dominating the division. He had a promotional dispute which kept him out for a while. Then when he came back, he wanted to go back in kind of softly. I wasn't too keen on that myself. I thought we needed to see a bit more from him against Pavel Stepien, for example. But he's where he is now, and Aziz and then Hutchinson and now this, it will put him in the place that he wants to be in. So it's happening at the right time for him. It needed to happen now, but it is happening now. He's still undefeated. He still absolutely believes in himself. He's very polite, Josh, but he's laser focused, as is the man about to join us now.
Well, we're going to speak to Callum Smith, who is coming in for a quick chat.
Okay.
He's okay.
Getting close, what area?
How are you, Callum?
Good to meet you.
Very good. Listen, all the talk has been, this has all been very, very respectful, but I just said to Johnny, yeah, it's all nice. When that first bell rings, this will be carnage, right?
Yeah, I think throughout my career, and I think Josh probably similar. I've never been one to need any bad blood to get in and do my job. I've always been quite good at switching on, and I'm very laid back and quiet outside the ring, but I can be pretty spiteful when I get in there, and I don't need to dislike my opponent in order to do that. So I've got a lot of respect for Josh. I rate him as a fighter. I think he's a good fighter, but I just believe I'm better, and we'll see Saturday night.
Is he someone you've had an eye on for a while, knowing that you know you're going to go up to light heavy eventually at some point? His career's been there.
Yeah, but not really, to be honest with you. Because when I moved up to light heavyweight, he was still early on in his career, and as a former world champion, I was looking at the world champions, and he wasn't quite there yet. And the only way our paths were going to cross was if I was to lose, and I didn't really like the idea of losing. But I did. I lost, and in the meantime, he's won interim world title, so he's now got something that I need. So boxing swings and things happen, but yeah, he was never really in my sight. I always felt like he was behind me, but now he's slightly ahead of me, and I need him now to push on and get closer to where I want to be.
So we've got two technically good fighters here, as we know, and pretty well matched, I would say, in terms of skill level. I was just speculating before you came up and kind of hoping, because it's great for us to watch, it'll be tough for you to be in it, that this could come down to who has got the stronger will down the stretch, just something as basic as that, because when you've got a well-matched fight, that's often what it is.
Yeah, I think it is a well-matched fight. I think the fact that, as I said, we haven't bad-mouthed each other, we haven't constantly called each other out, and yeah, it's landed on this show, shows that it's a good, evenly matched fight that people want to see. And stylistically, I don't think either of us are spoilers or awkward. I think we should gel pretty well, and it should be an exciting one for you. Maybe not as exciting for us to have it in there, but I just think however way the fight pans out, I believe I've got the answers to come out on top.
Best of luck to you, Callum Smith.
Thank you very much.
Let's head back over to Thomas Trotter.
Championship of the world. We will first welcome, coming to us from Bochum, Germany. He brings an undefeated record with 25 wins, 17 of those 25 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the undefeated former two-time EBU European champion and the #1 ranked contender by the WBC. Here is Agit Kabayel.
Well, here comes one of the real success stories of Riyadh's season. Agit Kabayel has had a couple of real breakout fights here against monsters. He took on Makhmudov, the man who twitches whenever he gets hit, and he took him out with body shots. He took on Frank Sanchez, unbeaten, and he took him out with body shots. There is a feeling that he will approach Zhilei Zhang, another monster, on Saturday with some big body shots.
He's a really good story, Agit, as well, because he was drifting. His career was absolutely drifting. He won the European title in 2017, beating Derek Chisora, and then just couldn't get the fights he wanted. Won it again in 2023, and he would have been wondering if he was ever going to get his chance. So I asked him yesterday, were the times where he felt like quitting? Because boxing had kind of disappeared in Germany at that point as a major TV force. It just wasn't the sport in the mainstream public that it had been in years gone by, and he said no, of course not, but I bet there were days where he just thought, look, this isn't going to happen, I'm going to have to go and do something else.
Well, he's a super humble guy. I'm not expecting any trash talk. Let's hear from him.
Well, Agit, we have not seen you back here since you beat Frank Sanchez last May. How does it feel to be back in Riyadh and back in the ring?
Yeah, I'm happy that I'm here, I'm ready for the next challenge. Let's go.
Your next challenge is a pretty big one. Zhilei Zhang, a big man, a southpaw, a big punch. What do you have to do to beat him?
Yeah, we'll see on Saturday, you know. We have a good game plan for him. On Saturday we'll see. And, yeah, let's go.
You've been the underdog or close to the underdog in your last couple of fights. Probably the underdog again coming to this one. Do you like being the underdog?
Yes, of course, I like it. We see on Saturday the underdog shocks the world again.
Interim title on the line for this fight, but does that mean something to you?
It's a small title, no small world title, but after the small white title, maybe come the big world title.
Good luck, Agit.
Thank you.
And now let's welcome, fighting out of Bloomfield, New Jersey, USA, by way of Shenzhou, China, a 2008 Olympic silver medalist, now has a professional record consisting of 27 wins, 2 defeats, 1 draw, 22 of those 27 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former WBO interim world champion and the #2 ranked contender by the WBC. Here is Zhilei Big Bang Zhang.
Well, here comes Big Bang Zhilei Zhang, one of the heaviest-handed heavyweights out there right now. 41 years old, but he doesn't seem to be slowing down. Still does everything he could do 10 years ago. And he was asked, give us 3 reasons why you beat Agit Kabayel on Saturday night. His 3 words: bang, bang, bang.
Totally agree. That southpaw style. When you see these two stood next to each other, it's like man and boy, size-wise. And this man will take his time, work at his pace. And slowly but surely, the hare and tortoise, they catch up to each other. And that's what it's going to matter. He'll catch up to him eventually. That's a style. He's on a roll. Should work.
He's a clever fighter as well. He's got underrated IQ, former Olympic medalist as well, Andy.
Exactly. They don't give those away on street corners. He's a very accomplished fighter. Stylistically, he might find this tough though, because he's always punching down, or almost always, but he's going to be punching quite a long way down against Kabayel, who's really good at getting onto the inside and punching in combination. So I expect this to be a bit of an odd couple in terms of a matchup, but I think it will gel well.
Well, let's hear from the Big Bang.
Well, Zhilei, first, is that your own personal theme song?
这是你自己的主题歌吗?
Yeah. I bang you.
I got that one. Last time you were here, you scored a knockout win over Deontay Wilder. How big was that win for you?
上次 KO 维尔德对你来说意义重大吗？
意义重大，代表着我又重新回归。从3月份输给帕克之后，然后6月份又击倒威尔德， Big Bang 又回来了。
It means a lot. After the Joseph Parker loss, it means that I'm coming back. Big Bang is here.
You got a very different opponent in front of you on Saturday. Kabayel, more of a mover than a puncher. What do you have to do to beat him?
卡巴耶尔可不一样了，跟维尔德，他是移动型的、灵活型的。你需要做什么准备呢？
不需要做什么，不需要做什么。他用什么战术，我用什么战术克制他。
Whatever he brings to the table, I have an answer for him.
At 41 years old, you still feel like you have a lot left in the tank?
41岁了，感觉还能打多久呢？
I don't know. 直到我打不动为止。现在我很年轻，状态一切都非常好。
I don't know how far I can go, but as of right now, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling very young.
Good luck, Zhilei.
Thank you.
Bang you. Bang. Bang. No, I'm a money man. Bang. Contact to me man. Bang. So when I read big man and talk bang. Why do you think I'm the man? Bang. Yeah, them know I'm the man. Bang. Know that I'm multi man. Get through on microphone stand.
Our next 2 fighters competing this Saturday in a scheduled 12-round contest, and it will be for the WBC Interim Super Welterweight Championship of the World. we will first welcome the challenger from Khiva, Uzbekistan, a stellar amateur with over 300 victories. He now has a professional record of 10 wins, just 1 defeat, 1 draw, 7 of those 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former WBA super welterweight champion of the world, Israil the Dream Madrimov.
Well, here comes Israil Madrimov, and for the first time he's having to bounce back from a defeat. Lost to Terence Crawford last time out. It was a nip and tuck kind of fight, wasn't an awful lot in it, and now he goes in against Vergil Ortiz, a young, hungry lion who'll be looking to take his head off.
Absolutely. That's what he has on the cards here. It was a good performance against Crawford. He gave him a really rough ride. And then we thought we'd see him in December against Zhilei Zhang, even though this fight with Ortiz had also already been made, which was a bit of a mad scenario, to be honest. In the end, we didn't see him in December, which was the correct thing to do, because this is it's another mouth-watering matchup, this. I've seen Madrimov a lot since the amateurs. I remember seeing him for the first time in the World Championships in 2017, and you knew immediately that you really had something on your hands. And I just wonder whether he'll be quite a lot bigger on the night, because he does fill out. He will fill out after the weigh-in.
Well, here's a special talent, calls himself the Dream. Let's find out if he'll be a nightmare for Vergil Ortiz on Saturday. Let's hear from Israil Madrimov.
Well, Israil, welcome back. Last time we saw you in Los Angeles, you lost a very competitive fight against Terence Crawford. What did you learn from that experience?
Последний раз мы тебя видели в Лос-Анджелесе в очень конкурентном бою с Теренсом Кроуфордом. Чему ты научился в этом бою?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You know, I'm happy to be here because here my second home is here. Muslim brothers, very comfortable here. You know, after Crawford, I learned more experience, you know, and then I want this fight is better show for everybody.
Got a young, tough opponent in Vergil Ortiz in front of you on Saturday. What kind of fight are you expecting?
Против тебя будет молодой, очень агрессивный боец. Что нам ожидать в субботу? Какого вида боя?
Yeah, it's top fighter because we are going this challenge, you know, after Crawford, big challenge. I have the plan, inshallah, for Saturday. Inshallah, show plan when in the ring.
You lost that title to Crawford, your world title. How important is it for you to get a world title back?
Ты потерял свой титул в бою с Кроуфордом. Насколько важно для тебя вернуть снова титул чемпиона мира?
Конечно, это важно. Ну, я думаю, я достойно бой проводил против Кроуфорда, и много болельщиков знал про меня.
Well, I think, yeah, it's important to get the title again for me, but at the same time, you know, I show myself with the Crawford fight, and many fans knows about me after that, so maybe it's also important for me.
Good luck, Israil.
Thank you so much.
I'll tell you what, this fight is an absolute cracker. Vergil Ortiz and Israil Madrimov. For me, Vergil Ortiz, he's like today's Miguel Cotto. Is anyone else with me?
He's a really good fighter, no question about that.
From Grand Prairie, Texas, USA, he is undefeated with 22 wins. 21 of those 22 wins come by way of knockout. Here is the reigning and defending WBC interim super welterweight champion of the world, Vergil Ortiz Jr.
Well, Vergil Ortiz, one of the most entertaining TV fighters, fan-friendly fighters out there at the moment. Fight number 23 for him, coming off a brilliant Fight of the Year contender with Zhilei Zhang. That was a cracker, wasn't it? If we get half the entertainment we got in that fight, we're in for something special.
We are, and it was actually a really important fight for him too, because he looked like welterweight was going to be his weight. Then he had all sorts of problems making weight. He's got a condition called rhabdomyolysis, which causes the body to kind of turn on its own musculature. It attacks the muscle cells. It was a hell of a thing to have to try and combat. So he moved up to super welter, had 2 first-round blowouts, a strange early stoppage by Tony Weeks, and then a body shot win, and then 12 really hard rounds against Zhilei Zhang. He touched down a couple of times. He wasn't knocked down, he touched down, but despite that, he won that fight. You know, it was a clear win, but he really needed that bit of seasoning at super welter to go into a fight like this.
And also, just like Artur Beterbiev, he heads into a fight for the first time having not knocked out his last opponent. He had knocked out absolutely everyone on his CV, and now he knows people are mortal when they meet his power. Let's hear from Vergil Ortiz.
Well, Vergil, you've been waiting for a big opportunity, a big fight. You're finally getting one here on Saturday. How are you feeling going into this week?
I'm very motivated. I'm very excited to be out here in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. You know, it's a blessing to be out here, the blessing to be on the biggest card of all time, and I'm ready to put on a good show.
You said you're very motivated. What's behind that motivation?
You know, well, first title defense against a very good opponent, and, you know, it doesn't get better than that.
Got a few fights now at this weight class, 154. Has that made a difference? Do you feel settled at this weight?
I feel good. I feel really good at this weight class, and, you know, I'm willing to stay here for a long time. If an opportunity comes up at 160, we'll take it too. But, you know, we'll just see what the future holds.
You know, it's a great fight. Could be a main event anywhere else, of course, and you're part of a big, big card here on Saturday. What does it mean to you to kind of be part of this kind of card?
It means a lot. You know, I feel honored to have been chosen to display my skills, you know, here in Riyadh, you know, across the world, you know, it is, you know, it's just, it's indescribable, honestly.
You got Madrimov in front of you. He had a competitive fight against Terence Crawford last time out. When you watch that fight, do you see things that you can exploit in his game?
I mean, yeah, me and Crawford are obviously different fighters, you know, so different approaches means different chinks in the armor, but, you know, we always find a way.
You always find a way to make it physical out there, too.
You already know.
Good luck, Vergil.
Thank you.
Well, there's a feeling there's kind of 7 main events on Saturday night. That's definitely one of them. Ortiz Madrimov. What a fight, Johnny.
That's one of the fights that's also going to go the distance. This has got, you know, toe-to-toe action written all over it. I think both fighters, Madrimov is a good fighter, but Ortiz, young, hungry, and I'd probably tip him to have a bit more variety about it, and that's why I tip him to pull this fight off.
He's been involved in some very entertaining fights. The Boachok fight was an absolute cracker, a nominee for Fight of the Year. There was a fight with Mean Machine, Agit Kabayel. Easy for me to say, Andy. Let's head back to Thomas Schreiber.
Fighters competing this Saturday in a scheduled 12-round contest, and it will be for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World. Let's first welcome the challenger from Ilford, Essex, England. He brings an undefeated record with 21 wins, 17 of those 21 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the undefeated former EBU European, Commonwealth, and WBC silver champion, and the #1 ranked contender by the WBC. Here is Hamzah Sheeraz.
Well, here comes Hamzah Sheeraz, oozing star power. He has done for a little while now. He's on a streak of 15 consecutive knockouts. If he gets number 16 on Saturday night, he will realise a childhood dream and become the world middleweight champion.
And for him, it doesn't get any bigger than that. It really doesn't. He's been moved well. You look at that win against Austin Williams, that was a big win because he had his knees dipped early in that fight, came through, stopped him late, so he carries that power late. That's good to see. Then he took care of Tyler Denny to win the European title comfortably on a massive platform at Wembley. Adames is a venture into deeper waters still, and he's going to have to produce a career best performance, but that's how it should be if you're going to win a world title. That is how it should be.
He definitely carries the power late. He also carries himself so well. A model professional, Frank Warren has described him as a modern representation of modern Britain. Let's hear from Hamzah Sheeraz.
Well, Hamzah, you've been calling for this opportunity, for this world title shot. You finally get it. How are you feeling going into this fight?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm feeling blessed. I can only thank His Excellency, I can only thank Frank Warren, Spencer Brown, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
There were a few other champions that were out there, at least a couple other champions that were out there. Why was this the right fight for you?
Because after the Amber Williams fight, I was #1 contender for the belt, so it only made sense.
Carlos Adames has a lot of experience. What do you need to do to beat him on Saturday?
Just do what I do. Do what I do. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and just enjoy myself, really.
I know you want to win, get your hands on that title, but how important is it to you to put on a show on a stage like this?
Yeah, massively. Listen, Riyadh season, what His Excellency is doing for the sport, it's our duty to entertain. So, yeah, hopefully Saturday night I'll put on a great performance.
Good luck, Hamzah.
Thank you.
Go job and do time for my brother, because that's my brother. I'll go to war for my brother. I'll light up the block for my brother. Be wrong and strong for my brother, because that's my brother. That's my brother. My family, my brother, my Jesus, my...
And now let's welcome the defending champion from Elias Piña en la República Dominicana. He has a professional record of 24 wins, just 1 defeat. 18 of those 24 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning and defending WBC middleweight champion of the world, Carlos El Caballo Bronco Adames.
Well, he is the reigning and defending WBC world middleweight champion. His campaign through the weight started off at welter, moved up to super welter, and very much established now at middleweight. Second defence of his crown on Saturday night, and there's a certain meanness about Carlos Adames.
There is. He means business. He absolutely does. And in the end, he got elevated to full champion after winning that interim belt due to an unfortunate situation that Jamal Charlo brought upon himself, and he wants to hang on to this belt. It's as simple as that. He knows about Sheeraz. He knows that he's an ambassador for Riyadh season and all of that he's a bit of a chosen one, but he doesn't care about that. He had a big amateur career, 273-7. You know, that's a lot of fights and a lot of success. Training with Ismail Salazar of Las Vegas. He's seasoned in those American gyms. And like I said, he sees Hamzah Sheeraz as a great British hype job and somebody he's going to expose and lay bare in the four corners of truth on Saturday. That's what he's thinking.
Well, he looks happy. He looked pretty mean earlier in the week. Looks perfectly at home on that big stage. Let's hear what Carlos Adames has to say. Let's see if it sounds as mean as what Andy Clark just said.
Well, Carlos, your first Riyadh season experience, how has it been going for you out here?
Tu primera experiencia en Riyadh season, ¿cómo te ha ido?
Bueno, mi primera experiencia, primeramente me da las gracias a todas estas personas que nos dan cita hoy. Me siento muy contento y agradecido que Dios me trajo con mucha bendición y mucha salud aquí. Estoy feliz de estar aquí y más de brindar un gran espectáculo.
I want to thank all the people here for coming to see me. I want to thank God. I feel very happy here, very content. I'm ready to make a great fight on Saturday.
When you got the call to face Hamzah Sheeraz, what was your initial reaction?
Cuando te llamaron para pelear con Hamzah Sheeraz, ¿cuál fue tu primera reacción?
Presentía que iba a ser mi siguiente víctima. Siento que ellos piensan que puede ganarme, pero como sé yo que no es así, sabía que me iban a llamar para esto.
Since before they even called me, I thought it was going to be my next victim. And I feel like they think that they can beat me, but they can't.
You say your next victim, you're pretty confident that you can be the first guy to hand this guy a loss.
Tú dices tu primera víctima. Se ve que tú eres muy confiado, que tienes la confianza para poder ganarle a este hombre.
Soy el mejor 160 que han podido ver en la actualidad.
I am the best current 160.
What do you have to do to beat him on Saturday?
¿Qué tú tienes que hacer para ganarle el sábado?
Solo quitarle la cabeza.
I only had to decapitate him.
Good luck, Carlos.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it will be a battle of the undefeated 12 rounds scheduled for the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World. It will be the challenger, Floyd Kid Austin Schofield, challenging the defending champion from Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, USA, a 2016 Olympic silver medalist, now undefeated as a professional with 22 wins. 10 of his 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He is a 3-weight world champion and the reigning and defending WBC lightweight champion of the world. Here is Shakur Stevenson.
Well, Shakur Stevenson, generally regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today, is a 3-weight world champion, and he's got the task of taking on a younger man this time, a hungry guy this time. It's not him facing the older guy trying to dethrone. He's got someone coming after him, Johnny.
He has. Stevenson's coming with quite an entourage that down below us here and walking in behind. This guy's come to put on a show. And again, everybody's going to try and steal the show on Saturday night. I do believe this man has the ability to do that.
He's certainly got all the ability. Olympic silver medalist as well, and he's done it all, really.
He has, and he's somebody who does things his way on his terms. He's a breed of the new generation of fighter, if you like, who knows their worth and is determined to make sure they secure it for each and every fight. He works with people, not for people. It's that kind of blueprint that Mayweather set out that the likes of him and Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis have looked to follow. I do think we really need to see something from him, though.
All over the U.S. Now you get your first fight here in Saudi Arabia. How are you feeling about this experience?
I'm ready. I'm ready to capture the moment. I'm focused. I put in a great training camp, and it's my time.
Last year was a tough year for you. Just one fight, had the hand injury. How eager are you to get your career back on track?
I'm ready to show the world that I'm a superstar. I think I'm one of the best fighters in the sport of boxing. The world will know February 22nd.
What do you think people can expect on Saturday?
You said what?
What do you think people can expect on Saturday?
They can expect the best fighter to show out. That's what I'm going to do.
Good luck, Shakur.
Got you.
Tell you what, he's got a bit of swag, hasn't he, Johnny?
Class written all over him. Class.
Big fight on Saturday night, defends his WBC World Lightweight Championship against Floyd Schofield. Now, Floyd Schofield, listen, not a lot of people call out Shakur Stevenson. It just doesn't happen. Floyd Schofield, he put his hand up. People probably telling him, no, put your hand down. You don't need this fight yet. He kept it up. He gets the fight he wanted.
And it's good to see, because we did think it was going to be William Zepeda, didn't we? Then he had that fight with Tevin Farmer and people called for the rematch, and the rematch is happening. And Schofield all the time, like you say, was in the back there just saying, hang on, I'm over here. And he's got what he wanted. Be careful what you wish for, some people might say, but he's confident. He's confident he could cause problems. But Shakur Stevenson won on this card, bar none. He thinks he's the best fighter in the world.
Well, of those 7 fights, this is probably the one that isn't so much a 50-50. On paper, certainly, Shakur Stevenson, 3-weight world champion. Floyd Schofield hasn't been near this level yet.
Without a doubt, and I think we'll have a chance to see with our very own eyes how good Stevenson is. You know, I've watched many of his fights. His skill artillery is second to none, and he's not even shown us half of it. I'm massively right.
Do you know, it's a weird thing where he's become a 3-weight world champion. He's 27 years old. You feel like, but if he retired now, it would be a huge letdown. That would be enough for most people. 3-weight world champion.
Yeah, that says it all, really, that we still feel like we need to see more, even though he's achieved what he's achieved. And he unified a super featherweight. He stopped Jamel Herring, a strong champion, unified against Oscar Valdez, and still we're kind of left there thinking, come on, let's see a bit more.
Well, let's head over to Thomas Triber. Business is about to pick up.
Main event this Saturday, scheduled for 12 rounds. It will be for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the world. Let's first welcome the challenger from South Auckland, New Zealand, He has a professional record of 35 wins, 3 defeats, 23 of those 35 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world. Lupe Soliai La'auli Ale Maliatoa, a.k.a. Joseph Parker.
Well, here comes Joseph Parker. I'm just going to call him Joseph Parker. Fair play, Thomas Triber, for committing to the full kind of tribal name. But here he is, and he looks calm, he looks cool. He is on a streak of 5 wins in a row. And if he makes it 6 on Saturday night, he will walk away as a 2-time world heavyweight champion.
It comes out to this song quite a bit. Roy Jones Can't Be Touched. I absolutely love it. And Andy Lee on his shoulder there. And they're such a tight team now. They've been working together for a while. But we've seen him grow during Riyadh season. He demolished Simon Keane. Then he defused the bronze bomber in Deontay Wilder. And then did the same thing to Zhilei Zhang. Again, people are talking about him being an underdog. But he's a very experienced fighter. He's a clever fighter. And he's in this second phase of his career where he's totally comfortable in his own skin and with how he wants to go about things. He feels he's bigger, stronger, better, badder than he's ever been. And it's hard to argue with that. And he's enjoying it, isn't he?
He's loving it. Absolutely loving it up there, Joe Parker. He is an entertainer. Just go and follow his social media. Go and look at his call-out videos, especially the one of Dillian Whyte. He did a bit of Take That. An unbelievable entertainer. Let's hear from him.
Joe, you certainly got some good energy coming into this fight. How are you feeling going into it?
As you can see, I'm happy, I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to Saturday.
You know, you've had a real turnaround over the last couple of years since that loss to Joe Joyce. What are the biggest differences in you since that defeat?
Listening to Andy, listening to George, and applying what I've been learning in camp and in training in the ring. And it's pretty simple. Go out there, believe in yourself. I have confidence, and I'm going to prove to everyone that you can always come back from a loss.
You've been a world champion before. What would it mean to you to be a 2-time heavyweight champion?
It'll be so special. I think champion of the world, Frank will be there, Spencer will be there, we'll all be there celebrating.
You're fighting a guy that has a lot of momentum too, in Daniel Dubois. What do you have to do to win this fight?
I have to be me. I have to focus on me, go out there, execute this game plan that Andy Lee has put in place, and become champion of the world.
Good luck, Joe.
Thank you very much.
And now let's welcome the defending champion from Greenwich, London, England. His professional record consists of 22 wins, just 1 defeat, 21 of his 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the hard-hitting, reigning, and defending IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois.
Well, here comes Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois, who alongside Alexander Usyk really is the form heavyweight in the world today. He is on one amazing run. Since that loss to Usyk, he took on Big Baby Miller, who was unbeaten. He took him out. He took on Hrgović, who was unbeaten. He took him out. He took on Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium, and he took him out.
You know what, this young man, you see him growing in front of our very own eyes. Josie Parker said the right thing. He's got to do what he does. He's got to box his fight. If he boxes this young man's fight, it's the worst thing he can do. He's walking in with a bounce, walking in with unbelievable confidence. Look at the size of him. He's just a fighting machine. That's who he is. You've got to stop this man in his path, but you've got to use your own style to do it.
Well, it's going to take an awful lot to stop Daniel Dubois right now, coming off that brilliant win at Wembley Stadium. Really, that could be the top of anyone's career. 96,000 people against AJ, and he was a man possessed, a man on a mission that night. If he is on a similar mission on Saturday, he'll regain his bite.
Joe had a lot of confidence as he took to the stage right here. What's your confidence level right now coming into this fight?
You know, I'm flying. I feel really confident, ready to go now, ready to talking's done. Let's go to work.
You've been on a roll as of late, from the Jarrell Miller win all the way up to the win over AJ that secured you that heavyweight title. What are the biggest differences in you over these last few fights?
I don't know, man. It's just the support behind me, my dad, my team, Frank Warren and all of that, just supporting me and having an ambition and goals, and we haven't stopped. We haven't given up, and we're here now.
Joe's been on a roll of late, too. He's picked up some big wins over the last couple of years. What kind of fight are you expecting from him?
I'm expecting just war. I'm ready to fight. Whatever happens, I'm ready to go through him and, put him to sleep. Go for the next one. I'm hungry.
You got a lot of knockouts over a lot of good guys over the last year or so. You think you can knock Joseph Parker out?
I'm not making no predictions, but I'm ready to fight.
Good luck, Daniel.
Thank you.
I love that. Daniel Dubois said at one point, I'm going to put him to sleep, and then said, I'm not going to make any predictions. That sounded like a prediction in there to me.
It did. It did. Yes, that sounded very much like he thinks he's going to knock Joseph Parker out. As he said there, he's ready to fight. I get the feeling that he's ready to fight all of the time, that he can flick that switch whenever he wants, because you talk about staying ready. I don't think that kid has been out of shape a day in his life. You think about the training regime that Stan, the father, has... I mean, he's wanted to do it, but has put him through since he was a young boy, and this is all he's ever really known. And now that he's found his self-belief, Johnny, and he knows that he can do it, he has done it, he's so dangerous, because that's all that was really missing.
You can tell how he's walking, how he's talking, how he's got a bounce in his step. Again, his career's moving in the right direction. This young man is the boy's turned into a man. He's grown up all of a sudden. And yeah, he says he's not making any predictions, but you just know what he's capable. Once somebody believes in themselves, once they get rid of all the naysayers and they stay focused on it, once you believe in yourself, nobody can break that spirit. And I see the spirit in him right there.
It's an unbelievable spirit. It looks like an unbreakable spirit. A couple of things. He was asked, Daniel, what are like your hobbies outside of boxing? What'd you get up to? He just said, I'm just a boxer. I just like boxing. He was asked, what's your favourite movie? What could you watch over and over again? He said, I can't think of any. All he cares about is fighting.
You know what? His first love is fighting, boxing. So the problem will be when he meets somebody. So how can he handle that? He's a young man. Yeah. So that's going to problem. So as long as that's his first love and he keeps that tight circle around him and keeps that focus, he'll do well.
He's got this team now with Don Charles. They seem to have found something. They didn't have much time to prepare for Usyk. That was their first fight together. Still had success in that fight. But this relationship, it's quite brilliant.
It works, and he talks a lot about his dad and how he needs his dad, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he's ended up with a trainer who's about the same age, because he'll get that similar kind of vibe from him. It'll be that respect that you have for somebody that bit older. I think that's the sort of relationship he needs to have with his trainer. I think it just kind of works for him, and Don is really, really experienced. And I just remember that fight in Poland against Usyk where he went down and he looked like he was going to stay down, and he got back up and he went back to the corner, and Don just said to him, I saw that, don't do that, don't do it. And I know in the next round he went down and he did stay out on the knee, but that for me was progress, and it showed that bravery can be improved upon. It can be taught to an extent. People talk about things you either have or you don't have in sport, and they'll say that guts and all that stuff is one of them. I've never believed that. I think that you can improve on it, and Don has got himself to believe that when it gets hard, you can get through it.
Yeah, it's not bravery, it's belief. Believing that you've got something more to give. And then the easiest thing to do is give up. The easiest thing to look on the dark side. The hardest thing is actually to have the courage to say, I can actually do this. You know, and that's just all. That's what it is.
Well, Joe Parker says he's going to break his heart. He says that when he gets too much pressure, he'll revert to type. He's basically saying he's going to make Daniel Dubois quit in there. Where are we on this?
Joseph Parker's got to say anything and everything to try and get inside that head of Daniel Dubois, because you can't call it class. If you can get inside his head, you've got him. I think it just bounces off. I think Daniel Dubois has been through enough in his career to actually think, no matter what anybody says, you know, it's not going to happen. Can you imagine all the people, all of us, that expected Anthony Joshua to do a job on him? So you've got to be mentally strong enough to ignore that kind of talk, and that's what it's been now. Both guys are stood there now with all the press side by side. There's no bad blood. There's no dislike, there's no disdain between them because they just want to fight. Joseph Parker is a nice guy, he's a cool guy. You know what? Daniel Dubois just wants to fight. He doesn't have to dislike you, he just wants to knock you out.
Yeah, I think we saw that nice guy element when they did that sit-down face-off, and they ended up just saying, shut up. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. It's not the most intense face-off that I've seen. I saw something today that Ring Magazine did with them as well, where they didn't really say much to each other. I think Joe said, "What's up, Dan?" and Dan just sort of ignored him as well. They're just here to fight.
They are, and Parker will come with a plan. As we said, he's an intelligent fighter. They're a good combination, him and Andy Lee. And that fight against Wilder, let's not forget that when he took that fight, we thought that Wilder was still the danger man that he has always been, and people thought that he was going to knock Joseph Parker out. Let's not kind of be revisionist about it. That's what people thought would happen, and he got the job done. He was either all the way out or all the way in. He was safe either way, and he launched those big overhand rights, and Wilder couldn't do a thing with him. And then against Zhang, he got put down twice, but he still went on to win the fight, and he did win the fight. And that's some effort when you've lost a couple of rounds 10-8 at that kind of level. So he absolutely believes in himself, and this second phase of his career is different. He's doing things slightly differently. He knows his own body a bit better now. That relationship with Andy's an interesting one because he went from Kevin Barry, who was more that kind of father type figure, to an older brother in Andy. And it's interesting what different fighters need as they get older from that relationship. You always have the same guy in your corner, but you can understand why sometimes you feel like you need something different.
Yeah. Some fighters, they grow with change. Some fighters, you know, you need someone in your corner that you actually believe in 100%. And once you've lost that belief in your corner, man, it doesn't matter what happens. You've got to make the change. And I think that change for Joseph Parker shows in this part of his career. Because I think that win against Zhilei Zhang was a good win. He had to chop the tree down, get put down. He had to get in there and try and pickpocket him. And so at time he was in the danger zone, and he took risks that most people probably wouldn't take. So again, you can see it's about self-belief, growth, and believing in the people you're working with.
So, after Fury Usyk 2, Daniel Dubois got in the ring, grabbed the mic, and told Usyk, "I want you, I want my revenge," whilst having a fight scheduled with Joe Parker. That has been one of the stories heading into this fight. Is Daniel Dubois overlooking Joe Parker? What are we thinking?
Let's get it right. You know, that's not Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois will do what he does his told. Now, I believe his promoter, Frank Warner, would have nudged him. Get up there, come on, make them see you, let them know that you're interested in a fight. And Daniel would have just got on with it. If it's down to Daniel to stay where he was, yeah, you know, he doesn't need to do that. But he's just put himself in that path. Will that fight happen? Can that fight happen? I know Usyk's saying he's got 2 more fights left in his career.
He says he wants the winner.
It's on the table. It's on the table, but I think Usyk will pick what's best for him. And if Daniel Dubois is in that lineup, that's what he'll pick. But you've got to remember this: Usyk, whoever he's boxed once, boxed twice. The second time has always been easier than the first time, because once he's downloaded that blueprint of that fighter, he's got the number. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, they'll do exactly the same with Daniel Dubois. It doesn't matter how much the kid's grown, because Usyk has shown that the guy's like a human computer. He's got his number.
That's a fascinating way of putting it. But I guess, look, is it an overlooking? Is it him being nudged, or is it a point to perhaps more media savvy, commercially savvy Daniel Dubois? Let's not forget, he was also calling out Jake Paul not so long ago after the Mike Tyson fight. Someone's probably telling him to do it, but he's getting in that kind of frame. He's getting in these conversations which get him more press, more attention.
He is, and he genuinely really does want to fight Usyk again. There's no question about that.
And probably Jake Paul too.
But I think with Dubois, his kind of mental makeup, his psychological makeup, I think he's a very linear thinker. The next thing is the next thing and the only thing in his brain. So I don't think he's really got it in him to be able to overlook someone. I think he's quite locked off, and you say to him, the next thing we're doing is this, and that is what he'll think about, and nothing else, until you almost tell him to think about something else.
It is an absolutely fascinating fight. Let's head back to Thomas Drive.
Anticipated main event is a rematch scheduled for 12 rounds, and it'll be for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. Let's first welcome the challenger. His professional record, 23 wins, just 1 defeat, 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former unified light heavyweight champion of the world, Dmitry Bivol.
Well, this will be the first time since 2017 that Dmitry Bivol goes into a fight and he isn't a world champion. This is a new experience. The first time he goes into a fight having suffered a defeat. What will we see from this version of Dmitry Bivol?
I asked him today, actually, is it different training for a fight off the back of a defeat? And he basically just said no. He just said no, it's not a nice feeling. He didn't enjoy it, but he understands that it happens. But for him, the mindset, the focus, the discipline, the professionalism, the motivation is always exactly where it's been previously. I don't quite believe that. I think there will be more because he wants to get revenge. He admits that he wants to get revenge and he wants the title of undisputed. He was very, very close in the first fight. It was a razor-thin decision. Razor-thin.
Well, it was certainly close the first time. He was also the first man to extend Artur Beterbiev the distance. Let's hear from the challenger, Dmitry Bivol.
Well, Dmitry, we're back here in Saudi Arabia. The first fight was very tough between you two guys. How many times did you watch that fight back?
Around 3-4 times.
What did you see when you watched it?
I saw good moments and bad moments.
It was incredibly competitive between you two guys. What do you have to do differently this time to get a win?
I just need to be better in all positions. I need to be faster. I need to be harder, smarter, everything better.
What did you learn from going 12 rounds with Artur Beterbiev the first time?
Not too much learned, but I learned about myself that I don't like to lose and I need to push myself harder.
What does that look like? What does pushing yourself harder look like on Saturday?
It means more punches and more endurance.
Good luck, Dmitry.
Yeah, thank you.
And now let's welcome the defending champion. He is a two-time Olympian, now undefeated as a professional with 21 wins. 20 of those 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the hard-hitting Ring Magazine champion and the reigning and defending undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Artur Beterbiev.
Well, here is the undefeated, undisputed world light heavyweight champion who says that he's not a good boxer. I think he's pretty good, Johnny. What do you think?
I think the devil's in the detail. That's what he says, but he is a very good fighter. And he'll draw the fighter out in you. He'll take you away from your game plan. That's what he's very good at doing. And you try and match him, you won't match him. He'll get the better of you. And Bivol has just said, you know what, I didn't learn anything about him. I learned a lot about myself, how I failed myself, what I should have done, I should have tried harder. You know, Bivol's a world-class fighter. That was number 2 in the world officially right now. Now you're looking at number 1 in the world. This guy knows what he's about. He knows what he's capable of doing. And he's a great thinking fighter.
Well, he's been a world champion since 2017, won that IBF belt, and then went belt collecting. Picked up the WBC from Alexander Gvozdyk, picked up the WBO from Joe Smith Jr, and in October last year took on the WBA champ Dmitry Bivol, and after 12 hard-fought, close rounds, picked up his belt too. He's got them all. Look at that picture behind him. What a fighter, Andy.
He's scary, isn't he? When you look at him there in the hood, he's got an intensity about him. You just look into those eyes and you do not see anything, do you really? Nothing at all, and it's terrifying.
Just 133 days between these two fights. How do you feel going into this rematch?
Not bad.
Not bad.
What did you learn from the first fight against Dmitry?
You know, we learned some different things, like, you know, what we need to prove, what we need to correct, like, you know. We did some stuff about these things. We'll see.
You know, after the first fight, your trainer, Mark Ramsey, said, great job, but you can be better. You said you can be better. In what ways can you be better in this rematch?
There is many things, like many aspects I can prove myself, I think so. We'll see.
Are you expecting him to fight differently this time?
Yeah, I think they have some different strategy or something, yeah.
You just turned 40 years old, but you seem to get better as you get a little bit older. How do you explain that?
I think it's because it's experience, and, you know, to be in good shape a long time, I think it's helping for your body too.
Good luck, Artur.
Thank you.
Well, he doesn't give an awful lot away. I thought they were good questions from Chris Mannix, to be honest, but you're not going to get much out of Artur Beterbiev.
No, you asked some good questions yesterday, and they didn't give you much either. No. I think he kind of enjoys playing that deadpan role. His English is better than he maybe lets on. On some days it's better than other days, shall we put it that way. I think he understands absolutely everything that we say to him, and he could be more effusive if he wanted to be, but he chooses just to give us a wry grin and not say an awful lot. What do you think, Johnny, about the 2 fights in 4 months at his age? Because I've heard various theories on this. Some say it's good because you stay in the rhythm. I don't think he's ever really out of it. Some say it could take a toll.
I think it's a lost art. A lot of fighters, they don't stay gym fit. After a fight, they'll disappear on a holiday or two. They'll stay at the gym for about 5 or 6 weeks, then come in and spend all the time getting the weight down, then getting fight fit, then get ready for a fight. Beterbiev is one of the few fighters, and I think Bivol's the same, that probably is always gym fit, and he may have had a couple of days off, but if you're going to live the life, live the life. Vergil Hunter, an amazing trainer. That's what he wanted his fights to do. That's how he wanted Andre Ward, an unbelievable fighter, lived. He lived in the gym. And if you do that, you're always downloading information. You're always getting better. And so I think Beterbiev, he lives the life. So this is nonsense to him. You know, having to talk to the press and think, let me just get on with my job and do what I've got to do. I rate his attitude. And at 40 years old, he's doing it for his old boys. So you've got to give it to him.
Well, can I just say, the scenes here tonight are absolutely incredible. I'm delighted to be joined by Spencer Brown. How are you?
Yes, I've really enjoyed it. I think we've got 3 winners at the weekend.
Talk to me. Who do you fancy the most? Is it Parker to do the job on Dubois?
I think I fancy Agit Kabayel to beat Zhilei Zhang more than anybody. I just obviously I fancy Joe to win, and I think Agit's he comes into his own. This is where he begins his real journey.
You only work with nice guys as well, by the way. The guys
I don't know why they work with me. What did you say?
It must be that aftershave.
But the guys you've just mentioned there, like Joe Parker, one of the nicest fellas you meet, Agit Kabayel won't say a word in anger against anyone, and Hamzah Sheeraz.
They're just all gentlemen. They're a pleasure to work with. I don't even hear any of them swear.
No, I don't think so
It's
either.
incredible. I just don't hear any of them swear. Just nice, very, 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 very nice people.
Tell me about Hamzah. This is the test. This is a huge step up. It's a proper world champion. Tough fight, Spencer.
Very. I just saw the confidence in the Damas there. He looks a lot bigger than I thought he was going to be. He looks solid. He looks like a consummate professional. I think he's come here to lay it on the line here, really heavily lay it on the line. Hamzah's going to have to be at his best. Sorry.
Spencer, what's it been like putting this together, because it's been brewing for a long time? This schedule was announced quite a long time ago, and now it's here. You do a lot of work on these cards and doing the deals and getting everything over the line. What was it like?
I mean, when you start and you're sitting there with HE and he's Frank and Eddie and everybody else in there, and you put the cards together, you're looking, thinking, I can't see that happening. I don't think that'll happen. And can we get that? And it's a long process. It's a long, thought-out process. What does help is having a having the funds to back it. That's always, and now you've got Golden Boy involved, so it's incredible really what goes on in a little room, and it's done over a couple of weeks, then it drags on a bit, and it drags on a bit more, and we've come with the best card you've ever seen. I think so anyway.
I think so too, Andy. I think you went for it as well, Johnny.
What do you think, John?
I'm there. I'm one of the old boys. I said it's an
well,
amazing.
You remember
I remember the old. So that's me. But right now in this modern era, it's got to be one of the best cards. We were saying from in the UK from 4 o'clock, you've got Smith Buatsi. That'd fill that'd fill anywhere out back home. You look at the bill. Any one of these could top a bill and fill a stadium. So to me, this bill is like.
And there's not a ticket.
Second to none.
I've got people asking me for tickets every 5 seconds. There's no tickets. It's a complete and utter sellout.
Well, look, and rightly so. It feels like 7 main events. Want to bring your attention a bit more on the Parker Dubois Parker fight as well, because they're both. It's for me, if we're taking Tyson as retired, which I think he is, unless he changed his mind today.
Well, at the moment he's retired.
So if we take him as
and he's
retired,
enjoying it, he's having a great time.
Well, look, this is good to hear. If we take Tyson as retired, this is number 2 versus number 3. They're 2 form momentum.
I think you could say that. Yeah, you could probably. I mean, look, we're all forgetting. There's a couple of other fighters out there a couple of machines. You know, number 1 out of those is probably Bacoli. You know, and he's a danger man. And for me, he's going to take a lot of stopping, you know. But Joe Park, what a great fight this is. It's very. I thought it was 60-40. It's now very 50-50, and Joe's so confident. I've never seen him so confident.
Is that
ever.
What's made you think it's 50-50? Just being around him?
Everybody's telling me, you know, you look at the bet. He's 4-9 on Dubois. I think he's coming a little bit with the bookies. And they don't get a lot wrong. You know, that's why they are bookies. They don't get a lot wrong. But I've just seen a completely different Joe. He's really enjoying it. I just hope he doesn't get into a gunfight. That's all I hope. If he boxes him and takes him into the later rounds, and I'm just hoping Dubois runs out of ideas.
How much has Dubois surprised you? Because you've been involved in all of his Riyadh season fights, and I guess, look, Parker's been picking against him every time. Were you thinking he'd win all of those?
No, I backed against Dubois every time nearly, to my detriment. I've Frank Warren's run a right for you called off me, to be honest. I'll tell the truth. And he just keeps performing, doesn't he? And he seems to be getting better as well. And the game plan last time was fantastic, wasn't it? Straight in, straight on. I don't think he'll be able to do that with Joe, and I think he shocked all of us. Shocked everybody.
Any little wagers with Frank on Saturday?
I'm leaving it all out now. I've lost that much money with him. It's should know, shouldn't you? Betting with a seasoned veteran like him. You know?
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
Listen, just while we've got you, on the Tyson Fury thing, where are we? You said he's very happy at the moment.
He's happy, he's content. He's got a massive work schedule this year with us. Obviously, when you're not fighting, there's a lot of things that build up, and a lot of people wanting you to do things. Johnny will tell you he's on circuits, and there's a lot he has to do. So over the last couple of years where he's been in camp, we couldn't do anything. All of a sudden the floodgates have opened, and he's got a lot of work on. So he looks as fit as a fly, though. I've never seen him look so good, honestly.
Spencer, one thing that I thought was a shame when he announced it was because most people don't believe him, he didn't really get the fanfare he deserved, I don't think. Do you think if he stays retired that'll kind of come with time?
Well, if you know Tyson's he's very off the cuff. He went for a coffee, he sat in his car for 5 minutes, and he went, that's it, that's Tyson. He didn't tell anybody. And I said before, why don't you tell us? I said, I can't believe you've not told us. He said, you'd have talked us out of it. You'd have tried to talk us out of it. What's the point? I'm retired. Look, he always has a glint in his eye and a twinkle in his eye. He does look very... I mean, Saturday, what are you doing? I'm going for a 10-mile run. Retired men don't usually go for 10-mile runs, but he does.
Where are you on this one, Johnny? Because, listen, it would be a big loss to the heavyweight
division. Johnny's always slagging him off.
No, Johnny's not going to slag him off. You're not going to slag him off, Johnny.
I don't think that's the loss we've seen of Tyson Fury. Maybe he believed it at the time when he said it. And you know what? There's not many fighters that... it's hard to walk away, especially when you love this sport. And he's always said, I'm a fighting man. And you know, today believes it. Tomorrow, I think... I just don't write off. I don't write him off. I'm not fighting again, especially with Anthony Joshua out there. You know, that's something.
It's a lovely fight, isn't it?
It's a great fight, and I think both fighters, they want to dance with each other. So today he feels like he don't want to fight again.
I think he's very disconcerted about the judging. I mean, if you look at the cards, you know, I even spoke to Igas, who's his manager, and he thought maybe he lost it. It just didn't make sense. The judging didn't make sense.
I think that does play a big part in the decision, because we had the fight, then we had Christmas and New Year and all that kind of stuff. When he made the announcement, Tyson, it felt like quite a long time had passed between then and the fight, but it was 3 weeks. 3 weeks during which he's probably watched it back a few times. The people around him have said to him, look, you won that fight, and he just had enough.
But as a fighter, that's a long reason to walk away, because you've still got a fire burning inside you.
But he can change his mind, can't he?
That's what I'm saying. You've still got a fire burning inside you.
There's nothing wrong with it either if he does change his mind.
You've got fighters at 60, 70 years old that still think they can fight even though they can't fight. So someone has to put that fire out. But when you're still young enough, fit enough and ugly enough to get it done, I just find
there is another thing as well. He's got 7 kids. He hasn't seen him for a couple of years. But if you've got no money, it's a reason to fight. But when you've got plenty of money, you know, he's got a beautiful wife, house, family. He's got the entire package. It's not that he hasn't seen him for close on 2 years, Johnny. Yeah. You know, he sees them every now and then, but he doesn't see him on birthdays. I've been there many times. We don't see their birthdays. He picks them up at school every day. He loves his kids, and maybe he's just thought, you know what? I've lost. Is there anything else for me? I don't know. I'm just going to go and enjoy my life. But like you said, who knows?
Well, listen, Spencer, we could talk about Tyson Fury all night. Listen, let's bring it back to just this main event. I haven't had your kind of pick. Firstly, who did you think won the first fight between Beterbiev and Bivol? Okay.
By 2 rounds as well.
Yeah, same. I thought he did enough in the first fight.
I think, again, if you're watching Bivol, you'll see Bivol win. If you're watching Beterbiev, you probably see Beterbiev winning. But I was watching Bivol mainly.
I watched Beterbiev. I saw him.
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah,
so
one of them.
We're all watching who we favour or we like, or we're friends or whatever. But I thought Bivol won it. I thought Bivol won it by 2 rounds.
Who do you fancy Saturday?
Bivol again. Yeah, I think fancy Bivol again.
Big one, absolutely big
but he's
one.
a monster, isn't he?
They're both monsters.
A monster.
There's so many monsters on this card, to be honest. I had a great time talking to you, Spencer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll
Thanks,
let you go. All
nice
the best. Mr. Spencer Brown. Great chat on Tyson Fury there. I like that. You know, will we see him again? I want to see him again, but at the same time, I want him to be happy. If he's happy being retired, go and be retired. But I want to see him fight AJ. It's up there, isn't it?
No, it's really interesting. And what Johnny said is, I totally agree with. I think he is retired. He has made that decision, and that's how he feels now. But it doesn't mean he can't change his mind. And with athletes, often people like to talk in absolutes. Well, you said you're retired, so that should mean that by law you are never allowed to fight again. You can change your mind, particularly in a business like the one he's in and you were in. There's an expiry date on it, and whilst you're still able to do it, then of course you want to, you change your mind and come back, because before too long you won't be able to do it anymore. That makes it different to almost everything else. You can retire from something else, and in 20 years you could go back to it if you wanted to. For athletes, it's not like that. So if he changes his mind, and I hope he does, then you don't want people kind of pointing and saying, "Oh well, we were right, you were full of and all this." Just enjoy it.
And he's a boxing fan, and I'm quite sure Saturday night he'll be sat in the house with his mates watching the fight. If he's not here, I don't think he'll be here, but I think Saturday night I'll be watching this fight, and it will. I'm telling you now, it will turn the switch on inside of him. We've got a stupid ego in our head. We've got a fire that's burning that needs a big bucket of water poured over it. We always think we can fight until we're 100 years old, and Tyson Fury's far too young. Got too much fight left in him. to walk away right now.
You got the itch at one point, didn't you, after retiring? I think it was around
Just one, and then I thought twice about it.
It was Marco Huck, though, right? Wasn't
That's
it?
right,
You
that's
kind of
right.
you thought I can beat him.
And that's what I'm saying. So it's very easy. I'll give you Mike Tyson, for instance. You know, a lot of people, when he boxed Jake Paul at 58 years old, said, why is he doing that? He's ruining his legacy. Mike Tyson was 58 years old. Where else is he going to earn 30 million plus? Now, it's easy for us to moralise about it. No, he shouldn't be doing it. But in reality, he's making a hell of a lot of dough, and he's thinking, I don't care what you think. That's not feeding my kids. This is what I want to do, regardless of how much money he's got left. So I'd say I'd never do it. But then in reality, if somebody dangles such a carrot in front of you, you think, maybe, just maybe. As a fighter, it's a different kind of makeup. And so when you're talking about Tyson Fury retiring, he might have meant it yesterday. I'm telling you, every day as each day goes by, he's thinking, nah, I ain't doing this. I've just got one more left in me. I'm doing it. Give it time.
It's interesting. I remember watching an interview a few years ago about him talking about coming back when he was like maybe 40 plus and dethroning the young king, whoever's there. That's what I feel might happen. I feel like he's got another comeback in him, but we will see, Andy. Listen, there's an IBF World Heavyweight Championship on the line on Saturday night. Let me get your kind of both your predictions now at this point for Dubois Parker. Firstly, Johnny.
Daniel Dubois, inside the distance win. I think Joseph Parker, great guy. I think he's a friend, nice guy. I think Daniel Dubois is just moving in the right direction, young enough, rough enough, strong enough, and powerful enough to get the win, because Joseph Parker, well, he's got someone he's got a hungry fighter in front of him. He's not fighting a 40-year-old Zhilei Zhang or a 40-year-old past it Deontay Wilder. He's fighting a young gun that's hungry, a young hungry champion, and that makes this fight even harder for him.
And where are you on that one, Andy?
I can't give a prediction on the fight that I'm commentating on, which is convenient, isn't it? I can just I can plead the fifth and all of that. But what I will say is that I don't agree with the bookmakers' odds. Sometimes you get skewed odds in a two-horse race. I think if you're looking at a UK bookmaker, they'll favour Dubois because of the recent history and Wembley, and because he's a UK fighter. That happens. I think it's a very, very close fight. I think it's a close fight, and the longer it goes, I think the more it favours Parker.
The thing with Joe Parker is he's got this habit of just diffusing power punches, and we've got a couple of heavy hitters who are going to come and join us now. Johnny, thank you very much for joining us.
Peace.
And we're just going to swap you out and bring in promoter Eddie Hearn and promoter Frank Warren. How are we?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good.
You keep every time you speak now, I'm thinking about Jamie Ward's impressions. Very good, wasn't it?
I know you are. I know you are.
You know you've cracked it, Dev, when you got people doing impersonations of you.
Have you heard about this, Frank? People have been doing impressions of me on Matchroom TV.
That's how big he is now.
What is going on? They're Jamie Ward.
I thought you'd missed a chance to say we've been impersonating Queensbury for years.
Doing your best. Listen, great to see you both. What are your thoughts? Let's firstly on Beterbiev Bivol. Frank, I think you had Bivol winning the first fight. What are you thinking heading into this one?
I was just done an interview over there. I thought the first time he won it by a few rounds. I watched it back. It was close, but I still thought he won it. This time round, I think it'll be the 13th round of the last fight. That's my opinion, but I got it wrong. I picked Beterbiev to win it last time, but changed my mind on the result. I thought it was the other way around. But I think it's a tough fight. But I've got to go with Beterbiev. I think he knows what he's got to do. Obviously, Bivol does as well. He's a great fighter, but he's strong, Beterbiev, and you've got to hurt him. You've got to really slow him down. You've got to hurt him, and I don't know whether he can do that.
Well, Eddie, you were enraged by the decision. I remember he was doing all of these at the camera and all sorts, but you weren't happy. You felt like your man won.
I did felt he won. I mean, like Frank, I watched it back a couple of times actually. I had him winning every time. On the night, I thought it was wider. When I watched it back, he did lose 10, 11, 12, which was, not the best thing to do in a close fight. But I still have him winning by 2 rounds, one in a worst case scenario. So yes, it was close. But what annoyed me last time, Dev, was he didn't get a shake on any 3 of the scorecards, and one of the scorecards was 116, 112 Beterbiev. I could not see that myself. No. But I think what Frank says is right. It's going to be interesting. I said in the first fight, when you fight Beterbiev, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's how long you can keep him off before he gets to you. And Dmitry did that for 9 rounds. To do that for 12 rounds, it's very difficult. And I think this time, Beterbiev will try and speed that clock up. He'll try and get to Bivol quicker. And if he does, it'll be a very tough night's work for Dmitry, because his feet are fantastic. You've got to keep punching, and Beterbiev wants to throw with you. And what Bivol did as they closed the rounds, he stopped punching. His movement was still great, but every time he came out, he wouldn't throw those 3 or 4 shots, and he'd just keep getting walked down. So, very tough fight. It was interesting to hear Bivol say he wasn't 100% last time. So, if he is 100% this time, I fancy our chances.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that the way he's been talking in the build-up, he's been talking about how he feels he can lift it again. And if he can keep that pace himself a little bit higher, then on the older man, that could tell on Beterbiev, because me and Johnny were talking about gears earlier on, and as fighters get older, they can tend to lose them.
Yeah.
So he can take Beterbiev, I think.
We keep saying that though, Andy, don't we? We never really see Beterbiev getting any older. I mean, what do you think about the fast turnaround? You know, some people say, oh, it's a quick turnaround. That might suit the older fighter. Sitting out for 6 or 7 months
and
might
fit.
not. You know? Listen, I'm hoping that one day Beterbiev will get old overnight. I doubt it'll happen on Saturday, but I do agree with you. You know, he is getting on, but he just doesn't seem to show.
I don't think it's really a case of him getting old overnight. I just feel like he'll know Beterbiev that in Bivol he's run into a different calibre of animal, because he stuck with him for the 12 rounds and it was very, very close. There is a possibility that Bivol's got it in him just to raise it to that slightly higher temperature, and Beterbiev might find himself struggling to stay with it. It could happen.
He's got to do that.
Yeah, he
that's
does.
The only
He
way
has
he's
to
going
do
to
it.
beat
He
him.
has
Unless
to
he
do that.
stops him, that's the only way he's got to do it. Can he do it? That's the thing. Can he do it? And you know, they know each other. They shared 12 rounds together. These two know each other inside out. They're quality fighters, and it'd be interesting to see what Bivol's the one who's got to change what he was doing, because Beterbiev, as the fight went on, grew in the fight in those latter rounds. He's the one who's got to change what he's doing. Can he do it? Because he tailed off a bit at the end. That's what happened. And I think that is. I mean, as you say, on some of that judges scoring, forget about it. But that's why I feel, has he got the ability to do that with this guy? Because this guy is, no doubt about it, he's a special fighter. They both are, but I just think he's something you don't want on you. He's a real
absolutely
handful.
not. And he's been sort of sizing me up this week. I don't know if you've seen anything. He's putting out his hand and all sorts.
And it's as you're saying, it's a short turnaround, and it's not like they're out of camp and they've gone out been enjoying themselves. They're straight into a camp off of a tough 12 rounds. Who's it taking the most out of?
Yeah, it's the first time in 10 years Beterbiev has had a fight so close to his last fight. Let's talk about Parker Dubois. I want to bring you in here, Eddie. I mean, listen, you've been around Joe Parker a fair bit, promoted a few of his fights. Frank, you promote him now as well. But Parker seems like this new guy at the moment. He's got this spring in his step.
Yeah, I just think he's got everything right in his life. I just think he's happy. He's training better. He's living the life inside out. He's, happy with Andy. I just think this is the perfect time for Joseph Parker. It doesn't mean he's going to win, but this will be the very best chance he's got at this particular time. I just think timing in life, his physical, mental, soul, everything, they really believe they're going to do this. But as I said in the interview, Daniel's like, you're either going to go, when you're Daniel Dubois now, you're either going to go to another level because he's a confidence fighter and his confidence must be through the roof, or sometimes you make your money, you go to Brazil for a couple of months, and I don't think so. And I think you've got two guys who will be at the top of their game. First half of the fight, I favour Daniel Dubois. If Joe can stay with him, if he can just chip away, I'll give him a great chance in the back half of the fight. But you have to favour Daniel because he's in unbelievable form.
What are you thinking, Frank?
I'm thinking the same. I mean, I look at the two fights. The fight he had against Babe Miller, he won it in the last round, and he showed he had a good engine in that fight, and showed he's dangerous going into the latter rounds, in my opinion. And the fight against Hrgovic, the first 3 rounds he was behind. He was getting caught with the right hands, and he grew into the fight. And obviously, the fight with AJ, we all see what happened there. He's in the formula life, and I agree with what Eddie's saying. For Joe, he looks tremendous shape mentally. He's physically there. He's very confident, and he's a good Joe Parker, former world champion. So he's got the experience. He's sparred with all the best. He's worked with the best most of the time with Tyson. So he's got all that going for him. What he hasn't got going for him, he's going with somebody who's on a real roll at the moment and is brimming with confidence. The only way I believe you're going to have a chance with this Daniel Dubois is at the moment, you've got to hurt him. You've got to take the fight to him, and you've got to outfight him. And he's got a great jab, Daniel. He's starting to get good head movement now. If he does that, and Daniel really fights one way, you are going to get the biggest tear up. You are going to get a fight and I think that's what will happen. That's what will happen. You know, Daniel, what's he? He's 27 now. I think Joe's about 33.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So, you know, that's not old for a heavyweight, by the way, but he's 33. So you've got the younger guy in there. The guy who's got the bit between his teeth. He's the young buck. He's flying at the moment. And you've got somebody this is his last chance. You know, Usyk is the #1 heavyweight in the world, 3 belts. Tyson's retired. So #1 and #2 are fighting each other. That's what people, I think, forget about this fight. This is the next 2 best heavyweights in the world, in the ring together, fighting for the chance to go and unify the belts against Usyk. And the money that they'll get as professional boxers. So for the winner, he's got everything. The loser's going to be very, very disappointed, obviously. So this is going to be a fight. An amazing fight.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you very much, Eddie. The winner's got everything, and you've got everything. Saturday night, the greatest boxing show of all time. We'll see you tomorrow for the workout.